Self-organized spaces have been undervalued and under attack by mainstream institutions. They are pushed out of our cities and villages. Yet, they hold many elements needed to face the crisis we see. Resilience and justice at the core. They are spaces of adaptation.
All the site is the former site of the Kindle brewery, which used to be here. So it's kind of an industrial area, which is in the middle of Neukölln, a part of Berlin which has to deal a lot of social and environmental problems. At the moment, it's mostly a place in between a lot of construction sites, and it's kind of fascinating space because lots of people started to interact here. The Terra they just contracted us to moderate the process of how to organize the space and how to develop it to be a common space. We want to provide a really basic environment, and then let's see how the future users will transform the space.
Ja, genau, und ich will wissen, wie viel Watt einfach mal für die...
Komplett ist es eigentlich...
Alle sind nicht so gerade, das am Ende alles ist so ein bisschen so verbogen und es wird eher so wahrscheinlich hier irgendwie sowas am Ende.
If you come here by night, it's kind of a dark place and you don't feel so secure. So it was mostly like the first thing everybody was, okay, yeah, we need some lightning.
Warum bist du so schnell und ich so langsam? Redest du mit Papa? Papa hat einen Trick, genauso wie ich einen Trick hatte, als ich das hatte.
Die müssen alle noch gemacht werden, auch. Ich habe die nur da so getan, um zu schauen, wie viel wir brauchen.
Maybe it's not the whole city, but at least in this kind of field we can try what a good future could be for all of us in terms of how to share space, how to share resources, to adapt to a changing world.
We are at Torhaus Berlin, the former gatekeeper's house of the Tempelhof Airport. During the times when this was still an airport, it was the gatekeeper's house, so cars would come in and there was someone sitting here and like checking the park tickets and the entrance, and now it's used by a group of people mainly around the question of what is happening with the airport building in the future. It doesn't always have to be strongly on the use of the airport building. There are some groups working on that. We also have a group that mainly works on food change, does cooking events. We have the radio group that does all kinds of cultural activities, but there are also other groups that talk about city political topics. So it's somehow a space where a lot of different people come together and always discuss on what should go on here and what should go on in the broader sense in society.
The best thing is that every resident comes, the clubs.
It's like the main stage, and then they have like two separate salons, kind of, where you can have like readings, smaller concerts, like singer-songwriter concerts, or like very experimental concerts.
We have the space, right? We just gonna order drinks, I guess.
Who would be up to organize a bit?
I can also Here's a space where you can actually try stuff out. So you can try out your ideas on a small level and then see where it goes. And I think this is one of the main things here. You can experiment with things without a lot of pressure and then see where it goes.
We are here in Silandro, in Venosta Valley, which is a valley at the southern Alpine ridge in northern Italy. We are here exactly in a former military town, which was created in the 40s from the fascists. I heard that this capacity here should be teared down. So I was like an active citizen proposing to the politics if it would not be better to keep this building for this use of basis, which defines itself as a social activation hub. Our aim is to treat the place like a common public space. We offer different presets, so like the co-working space we are in here. We have the Salotto, which is a meeting point. We have 4 residency apartments. We have meeting rooms for seminars. We have the practical space is on the ground floor, where we try to engage kids, people from different ages, to work with material. We build now a creative education studio for photo, film, VR, AR and music. And we have the big venue where we can do nearly everything which is possible in the creative cultural sector. We don't want to develop every soil or room of the facility. We want to keep them also empty, to have spaces where people don't find already stuff which is already done, so where they can really put themselves in and dive into experiment for their crafts and handicrafts and arts. Such projects are also needed in the rural areas because the problems are also here. There is also the diversification needed to be a good place to live.
Young people need space for research and for doing experiments. And especially in the countryside, there is enough space, but young kids do not have access to this space. So I try to start a dialogue between the authorities there and the young people. I'm just working in the Uckermark, Templin, and another city called Prenzlau. We managed to get 2 spaces, mostly in an unfinished space, That's the best. If everything is done and prepared, and then they are not so interested, they are not so creative. They know what to do with it, they know something comes out of it, something good. To my mind, it's important that they have their own world, in this space, and that there is no control, I started to meet some politicians, and they understand more and more, that young people, wild young people, can also bring advantages into a community,
It's about time to recognize and support these spaces. In Spaces of Adaptation, we demonstrate the impact of spaces to social and climate goals. We help them to develop fundable case studies to scale and replicate their socio-ecological impact. We connect spaces to social investors, institutions, and other funders, and we advocate for self-organization as a policy tool.
These free spaces where you could experiment, they are getting lost more and more, and I think these are super important spaces for a society.
You can do experiments on how do we want to live together, how do we want to interact, and how do we deal with the environment.
Self-organized spaces are good because they are used to adapt in a certain way. They are used to discuss, they are used to communicate.
They are more flexible on changes because they are like on the spot. They see every day in their everyday life what is going on and what they want to improve.
We have the chance to create situations where we involve.
Of course, if people find us or find other spaces in the city, they're always kind of happy because this is something where you actually can engage.
I'm always impressed by when you bring together people about the power they create.
Space is such an important first step everywhere. Doesn't matter, in the countryside or in the city. If you have one and you like it, then dreams can come true.